Now let's make the hair. It's divided into 3 sections for explanation. The front part is the first section. The back part is the second section. Both ends are the third section. Follow the order and crochet the first section and second section separately first. The third section has 2 parts. Crochet them separately first, then attach them. Let's start with the first section. Pick up stitches at the corresponding position on the main part. Work back and forth. No new stitch techniques are used. Please watch my demonstration. Position the main part with the right side facing you. That is, the side with flower decorations. Then place the bottom facing down, opening facing up. Locate the fourth section on the front side of the main part. Insert the hook and crochet at the second row position of the fourth section. The chart shows flow here. Flow indicates the front loop. That means picking up the front loops for the following stitches. Here it matches exactly the remaining half side of the current stitch. Join the yarn on the front loop of the rightmost stitch. Then make 2 chains to begin. Work downward starting from the adjacent stitch. Pick up the front loops and work half double crochets correspondingly. Complete the last front loop position. The first row is completed. Work the second row downward. Make 2 chains to begin. Turn. Then start from the second stitch on the left side. Pick up stitches and work half double crochets correspondingly. Pay attention not to work into the stitch below the chain. When encountering a chain space, insert the hook into the top 2 strands of the chain. Work a half double crochet. The second row is completed. You can check the stitch count. The method for row 3 is the same as row 2. After completing the beginning chain, insert the hook into the second stitch on the left side. Work half double crochets into each stitch in sequence. Finally, work a half double crochet into the chain space. After finishing, check the stitch count. Avoid extra or missing stitches. Complete this row. After completing, work row 4. Make 1 chain to begin. Turn. Then work 1 single crochet. No new stitch techniques or methods are used afterward. Simply follow the chart to complete this row. After finishing, cut the yarn. Hide the yarn tail inside the fabric. At this point, the first section is completed. Fold the first section downward. Attach it close to the main part, then glue it securely. The first section is now explained. Next, crochet the second section. The method is similar to the first section. Here, crocheting is done on the wrong side of the fourth section of the main part. After completing, tidy up the shape. And both sides need to be sewn and secured to the main part. The new stitch technique used is TV, half double crochet increase. Please watch my demonstration. Pick up the fabric with the side that has an opening facing you. Find the second row of section 4. Join the yarn on the remaining front loop of the stitch. Here, leave a yarn tail about 20 centimeters long. Down the chart, you'll see square brackets. These square brackets indicate the stitches inside are worked into the same position. Start with 2 chain stitches as the beginning chain. Then, work 1 half double crochet into the same position. Note that the starting yarn tail doesn't need to be hidden. Now the stitches inside the square brackets are completed. Next, pick up the front loops one by one. Crochet the corresponding number of half double crochets. Finally, work 1 half double crochet increase. Now the first row is done. Move on to the second row. Again, there are square brackets at the beginning. The meaning is the same as before. Start with 2 chain stitches as the beginning chain. Turn over. Then work 1 half double crochet in the same position. That is, pick up the stitch position corresponding to the chain below. After completing this, the stitches inside the square brackets are crocheted. Continue crocheting according to the chart below. The final half double crochet increase is worked in the position of the top chain stitch. Now the second row is completed. The remaining rows do not involve new stitch techniques or methods. Everyone can simply follow the chart to finish crocheting. Note: after completing the chain, begin crocheting. Pick up the second stitch on the left side. Continue crocheting downward. The last stitch should be worked in the chain space of the previous row. After finishing, check the stitch count. Once all crocheting is completed, leave a yarn tail of about 50 centimeters. Now the explanation for the second section is finished. After crocheting is completed, smooth out the shape. Use a matching color yarn here. Take a long tail. Thread the needle. Then from the second section. Centered position. Skip a row when inserting the needle. Insert into the stitch position of the first row. Pull the yarn through. Then go back downward. Follow the same method to insert the needle. Then tighten both yarn tails. After tightening the tails, tidy up the fabric. Smooth it out slightly here. Then tie a double knot with the two tails. Hide the remaining yarn tails on the wrong side of the fabric. That concludes the shaping section. Next, sew the edges of the piece to the main part. Use the reserved yarn from casting on to sew this side. Pick up the edge of the second section. Sew a few stitches at roughly corresponding positions to the main part. There's no specific sewing method required, just make it secure. Finally, thread the yarn inside. Then tie off and weave in the ends. Use the last reserved yarn for the other side. First, bring the yarn from the last row to the side edge. Then pick up the edge and sew it roughly corresponding to the main part. The method is the same as before. Complete it, everyone. Now the second section is fully explained. Next, let's make the third section. Start crocheting first. Use the adjustable magic ring to cast on. Crochet outwards in rounds counterclockwise. Watch my demonstration. First, make an adjustable magic ring. Then chain 1 as the beginning chain. When crocheting in rounds, you need to start with a turning chain. Finish with a slip stitch. Then work 6 single crochets into the ring. Close the magic ring. Pull tight the starting tail. Then join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. Tighten. The first round is completed. For rounds 2 through 12, the stitch techniques and methods have been demonstrated before. Pay attention after completing round 6. Turn the fabric right side out. Then stuff a little waste yarn inside. Continue crocheting afterward, when ending at round 11. Continue to complete the remaining. After completion, work round 13. Begin by working 7 chain stitches. Then go back and start from the second stitch from your hook. Pick up the top loop of the chains. Work 1 slip stitch correspondingly into each stitch. Five single crochets. Then work 1 slip stitch into the next stitch below. Later you'll see K1, which means skip 1 stitch. Skip 1 stitch on the left side. Later the chart shows curly brackets. They mean the same as parentheses. The stitch techniques inside form a group. The times number after the brackets indicates how many times to repeat. First, work 1 group following the chart. One group is completed. Continue to work another group. After completion, fasten off the yarn. Simply tuck the yarn tail into the fabric. That concludes the crochet instructions for the third section. Using the same technique, crochet another third section. Finally, attach them. Position them on both sides of section 3. Above the boundary between section 2. Align the cast-on edge with the main part. Then attach using glue. Complete this step. The hair section is now fully explained. Next, install magnetic clasps, here on the top center area of the first hair section, and second hair section. Magnetic clasps come in pairs like this. The thinner one is called the female clasp. The other is the male part. Install the female clasp on the top of the first section. Attach the male part using the same method, onto the top of the second section. This completes the magnetic clasp section. Next, make the facial features, which consist of eyes, eyebrows, mouth and blush. First crochet them separately, then attach them to the main part. First crochet the eyes. The method is identical to the first round of the third section of the hair. Just follow the chart for crocheting. Finally, leave a longer yarn tail. After completing, crochet the eyebrows, using the method of holding the yarn while crocheting chain stitches. First reserve about 10 centimeters of yarn tail. Then begin with a foundation chain. Next, the lower yarn strand. Hook the yarn onto the crochet hook. Yarn over and draw the yarn through. This completes one stitch. Continue with 4 more stitches. After completing, leave a little yarn tail. Pull out. Secure the yarn tail by tying a knot. This completes one eyebrow. Crochet another eyebrow using the same method. Next, crochet the mouth. Divide into upper lip and lower lip. Need to crochet half double crochet popcorn stitch and double crochet popcorn stitch. I'll demonstrate the crocheting method for the upper lip first. Pick up the corresponding yarn. Start with 3 chain stitches. Then work into the third stitch from the hook. Crochet 2 half double crochets. Then slightly enlarge the loop on the crochet hook. Remove the crochet hook from the top chain space. Insert into 2 strands. Draw through the loop that was left. As you crochet, the fabric stands out. Finally secure with 1 chain stitch. At this point, the half double crochet popcorn stitch is completed. Finally leave a long yarn tail and cut the yarn. At this point, the upper lip is crocheted. Crochet the lower lip next. First crochet 4 chain stitches. Then work 2 double crochets into the 4th stitch from the top. Then remove the hook. Insert into the top chain. Draw through the loop that was left. The fabric stands out. Then secure with 1 chain stitch. Complete the double crochet popcorn stitch. Finally leave a long yarn tail and cut the yarn. At this point, the lower lip is crocheted. Next crochet the blush. There are 2 in total. Same method. First refer to the chart for crocheting. Finally leave a yarn tail. After completion, embroider dots on the wrong side of the fabric piece. Use the yarn for hair here. First take a long tail, then take 1 strand. Embroider using a thin needle. This area is roughly centered on the fabric piece. There are no specific requirements for the quantity and position. Everyone can decide based on their preference. Tie a knot on the wrong side after completion. Simply cut off the remaining yarn tails. Complete it as you like. That concludes the blush making tutorial. Finally, attach it. First on the inner side of the 3rd section of the hair. The edge of section 3. Attach the blush. You can use glue to temporarily attach it first. Check if the position fits properly. Once the position is confirmed, if you want it more securely, use the reserved yarn tail. Pick any spot to stitch a few times to secure. Pay attention not to pick the edge of the blush. Simply hide the final yarn tail inside the fabric. Attach the other blush symmetrically using the same method. Complete it as you like. Next, attach the eyes, eyebrows and mouth. First refer to the finished product effect for placement. Position can be adjusted according to preference. Note that the wrong side of the eyes fabric faces outward. You can temporarily secure with glue first. For the mouth, first glue the two lips together. Then attach to the main part. Once position fits properly, if you want it more securely, you can use the reserved long yarn tail. Tie a knot inside the main part to secure. Do not sew to the fabric here. Maintain the edge's neat appearance. Complete it as instructed. Facial features section is now covered. Next, make the head scarf. Divide it into front body, back body and ties as 3 parts. First crochet them separately. Assemble after completion. First crochet the front body. Use chain cast on, then work back and forth. New stitch technique used, FB double crochet increase. Watch my demonstration. First make corresponding number of chains. Refer to the chart for details. I've completed it here. Start row 1 downward. Starting from the second to last chain stitch. For this row, insert the hook into the back loop of each chain stitch, which is the wrong side of the chain, those raised horizontal bars. First work 10 slip stitches correspondingly. Then crochet 2 single crochets. One single crochet increase. Two single crochets. Complete one group at this point. Continue with another group. After completing, work 2 half double crochets. One half double crochet increase. Two half double crochets. One group is now completed. Work another group. After completing, crochet 2 double crochets downward. One double crochet increase. Two double crochets. One group is completed. Continue crocheting 5 more groups. The remaining part going forward doesn't use any new stitch techniques. Everyone continue to follow the pattern chart for crocheting. Complete the last stitch. At this point, the first row is completed. Crochet the second row downward. Make 1 beginning chain to start. Turn. When you encounter a slip stitch later, insert the hook into its braid. Work the corresponding stitch. When you encounter a stitch, insert the hook into the stitch. This row doesn't use any new stitch techniques. Everyone follow the chart to complete this row. Cut the yarn after finishing. Hide the yarn tail inside the fabric. At this point, the front body crocheting is explained. Set it aside for now. Crochet the back body. Now crochet the back body. Start with a foundation chain. Work back and forth. New stitch techniques used: FWDC 3-in-1, FA-DC 2-tog, FMDC 3-in-1. Watch my demonstration. Begin by following the chart to cast on and work row 1. I've already completed this part. Now work row 2. Chain 4 to start this round. Turn. Then insert hook into the 4th stitch from the hook. Pick up the top loop of the chain. Work a DC 2-in-1. Then work 5 double crochets into each and every stitch. Next make a DC 3-in-1, which means 3 double crochets in 1 stitch. The edge here is chain stitches. Insert hook into both loops of the top chain stitch. Now row 2 is complete. For rows 3-8, no new stitch techniques are used. Follow the chart to complete these rows. After completing, work row 9. Start by chaining 2 as beginning chain. Note that the turning chain doesn't count as a stitch. Then turn. Pick up the left side 2 stitches. Work a double crochet decrease. Be mindful not to pick up the stitch corresponding to the beginning chain. Then work 26 double crochets. Finally work a DC 3-tog. Work 3 incomplete double crochets. One, 2, 3. Finally yarn over and draw through all loops on the hook. Complete the DC 3-tog. Now row 9 is done. Next work row 10. Same method. Start by chaining 2 as beginning chain. This chain does not count as a stitch. Then turn the fabric. Pick up 2 stitches on the left side. Then work a double crochet decrease. Next work 22 double crochets evenly. Finally, make a DC3 tog. Leave the chain spaces unworked. Now row 10 is completed. For row 11, refer to the chart. After finishing, leave a corresponding yarn tail before cutting the yarn. The crocheting of the back body is now explained. Set it aside for now. Next, crochet the straps. The stitch techniques and methods used here have been demonstrated before. Refer to the chart for crocheting. After completion, hide the beginning and ending yarn tails inside the fabric. Finally, tie a knot. The strap section is now explained. Finally, assemble. First, attach the front body to the head section 1 position. Here, place the front body with the second row stitch texture neat side facing forward. Then the slightly higher side of the fabric corresponds to the top of the head section 1. Below, place along the edges curve. Align the beginning and ending. You can use glue. Secure it first. Begin sewing after completion. Sew mainly in this area. Take matching color yarn, about 80 centimeters long. Then pick up the front. Sew the overlapping area with the head section 1. Here, insert the hook at the corresponding position on the head. Insert the hook into the front body pickup stitch area. Sew using the basting or backstitch technique. Keep the edge flat and neat after sewing. Finished sewing the starting point. Bring the yarn down to the opening position. Next, pick up the opening. Sew using the whip stitch technique. The stitch area here is not corresponding. Pick up approximately corresponding stitches to sew. After completion, thread the yarn to the starting yarn tail position. Tie a double knot with the 2 yarn tails. Hide the remaining yarn tails into the fabric. This completes the front body assembly. Next, assemble the back body. Here, keep the right side of the last row facing out. Then match it with the opening. This is the area above the second section of the hair. Pick up stitches downward along the edge of the opening. Sew together. Use the whip stitch technique as well. At both ends of the opening, pick up a few stitches from the front body. Connect the 2 fabric pieces. Achieving this final effect. Complete this step, everyone. Finally, attach the ties. Place them at the center position underneath the front body. Then glue securely. You can also use matching color yarn. Stitch a few rows on the wrong side for extra security. Now the head covering attachment part is complete. Next, make the hands. 2 in total. Same method for both. Start crocheting. Start with an adjustable magic ring. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. Follow the chart to complete the first 10 rounds. Remember to turn right side out after completing round 3. I've already crocheted this part. Now stuff with some scrap yarn. Continue crocheting round 11 downward. Make 1 chain as your beginning chain, then crochet 4 single crochets. Skip the next 4 stitches. Then crochet 4 chain stitches. Pick up corresponding position and crochet 4 single crochets. Join with a slip stitch. Pull tight. Round 11 completed. Continue to crochet round 12. Make 1 chain as your beginning chain, then crochet 2 single crochets. Skip the next 2 stitches. Crochet 4 chain stitches. Skip the chain stitch position. When you reach the single crochet position, skip 2 stitches first. Crochet 2 single crochets. Join with a slip stitch. Pull tight. Then leave a tail of about 20 centimeters and cut the yarn. Round 12 completed. At this point, the crocheting for one hand is explained. Crochet another hand using the same method. The crocheting of the hands is completed. Proceed to the assembly. Use the reserved yarn. Sew it to both sides of the main part section 2, between rounds 18-23. The exact position can also be adjusted according to preference. Match the side with chains on the hand to the corresponding part on the main body. Then pick up the edges of single crochets to sew together. Place the chains inside. Hide the yarn tail inside the fabric. One hand is now assembled. Using the same method, symmetrically attach the other hand. The hand making is now explained. Next, make the sleeves. There are also 2 of them. The method is the same. First, crochet. Here, the cast on is 2-2-ch. Join with a slip stitch to the first stitch to form a circle. This means to start with 22 chain stitches. Then crochet a slip stitch into the first stitch to form a circle with the chain stitches. First, crochet the corresponding number of chain stitches. Then find the position of the first chain stitch. Note: make sure the cast-on chains are not twisted. Then align the beginning and ending like this. Then pick up the top strand of the first chain stitch to insert the hook. Make a slip stitch. Pull tight. Check after completing. The starting chains are not twisted, forming a flat circle. At this point, the cast on is completed. Crochet the first round downward. Chain 1 to begin. Then pick up the top strand of each chain stitch. Work single crochets correspondingly. Pay attention to weaving in ends as you crochet. After completing the last chain stitch position, everyone check the stitch count. Join with the first slip stitch. Pull tight. The first round is complete. For the following rounds, simply crochet according to the chart. Note: when skipping stitches, and at positions where chain stitches are worked on top, the skipped stitches in the chart indicate the number of skipped single crochets. Chain spaces are left unworked. After completing, reserve corresponding yarn tails for sewing later. Finally, on the starting side, pick up the remaining half of the chain stitches, work a round of single crochets, and switch colors for crocheting. Finish off after completion. Here I demonstrate the finishing method. After completing the last slip stitch, don't tighten, then slightly enlarge the loop on the crochet hook. Leave a little yarn tail and cut off. Next, count 2 stitches to the left. Insert from behind. Draw the yarn through. Then from the center of the V shape formed by the slip stitch, exit from behind. Draw the yarn through. Adjust slightly. This way the edge texture after finishing looks neat. Simply tuck the final yarn tail into the fabric. Now the crocheting of one sleeve is complete. Follow the same method to crochet another sleeve. Crocheting is done. Next, proceed with assembly. Position it at the hand placement. Insert through the last chain space here. Keep the chain spaces facing downward. Sew it inward while attaching. Pick up single crochet positions to sew. Same method as sewing on hands. Complete this part. Now the sleeves section is complete. Next, explain the feet. There are 2. Same method. First, follow the chart for crocheting. Leave a yarn tail for sewing after completing. Stuff with a small amount of yarn tails after finishing. Finally, attach to the bottom of section 1. Sew along round 1 and round 2 here. The back is approximately at the stitch position of round 1. The front is at the stitch position of round 2. Specific positions can also be adjusted according to preference. Use the reserved yarn to pick up the edge stitches of the foot. Sew roughly in position with the main part. No specific sewing method required, as long as it's secure and neat. Complete it as you like. That concludes the foot section. Finally make the strap. Use 2 strands of yarn here. Work together crocheting. Crochet the shrimp stitch here. After reaching the corresponding length, sew to both sides of the bag. Leave about 10 centimeters of yarn tail before starting, and at the ending. Below I'll provide a method for crocheting the shrimp stitch. You can learn first, then practice after mastering it. Please watch the demonstration. Below demonstrates the crocheting technique of shrimp stitch. Foundation chain. Chain 2. Insert the hook into the back loop of the first chain stitch. Yarn over. Pull the yarn through. Yarn over again, pull through both loops. Keep the hook steady. Rotate the fabric clockwise. Then, pick up 2 strands with the hook. Yarn over. Pull through. Yarn over again, pull through all loops on the hook. Continue rotating the fabric clockwise. Pick up 2 strands with the hook. Yarn over. Work a single crochet. Continue rotating the fabric clockwise downward. Pick up the same 2 strands on the left and work a single crochet. Repeat this method continuously. Rotate the fabric clockwise. Then pick up the 2 vertical strands on the upper left and work a single crochet. When you reach the desired length, secure with 1 chain stitch. Leave yarn tails, cut the yarn. If you need to sew, leave a long yarn tail. This is the crocheting technique of shrimp stitch. After crocheting is finished, attach it between the 2 pieces of the headscarf. Use the reserved yarn from before here. Pick up corresponding positions on the strap edge and main part to sew together. Same method has no specific requirements, as long as it's secure and neat. Pay attention that the strap doesn't twist during sewing. Complete it. At this point, the strap explanation is concluded. Up to this point, the entire bag making process is completely finished. If you still have unclear parts during the crocheting process, unclear points remain, don't hesitate to join our Facebook group to get supports. Susan's Family, supporting your handwork experience, sharing the joy of life. Thank you for watching. See you in the next episode.